What up guys, Alchemist here, and I got something nice for you. So today we're rocking Prometheus Lens. But before we get into that, I just want to make sure I put this caveat out there because I don't know, for some reason I felt like I was being a little too harsh with Aegis Scepter, okay? Aegis Scepter didn't have what its other exotic counterparts have, which is when it's doing sustained fire, it automatically does the elemental debuff so that it automatically procs harsh refraction. Navigator and Prometheus Lens, for example, when it's shooting the enemies, it automatically does the elemental debuff matching their weapon so that it can get the 35% from harsh refraction. Aegis Scepter can only get that inside its super form, so it struggled trying to get that 35% consistently 24/7 for DPS on the enemies. So that's why I fell behind. In the super form, it shreds, but outside of super form, it falls behind a little bit. Be a little bit lenient on it, give it some forgiveness. You can still use that trace rifle build for fun and regular content. Just know you gotta work a little bit harder if you're doing it in harder end content. Run a full team of stasis users so more people make crystals and it can still pop off. It can pop off really good. But today we're using Prometheus Lens, and I will admit immediately, Prometheus Lens, it ate. Okay, it ate. This gun right here, we're not even in a solar season. There's no solar surges or anything, and this gun popped off. Now the reason why I say this gun popped off is because of two reasons. One, solar has a lot of stuff that can actually help the weapon out. So it got stuff to buff up the scorch on this weapon. It got radiant to give that extra 20% damage. Stack that with the surges and the mods, and then stack that with the other fragments to help this gun do more scorch damage. And this gun got a lot of potential this season, even though there's no solar mods in the artifact and there's no surges and activity stuff to make it stronger. So amazing. So before I get to the perk of Prometheus Lens, can we just talk about how Prometheus Lens got like the most fire ornaments, bro? Like, I got Io Osiris on, this look amazing, but the gun on its own looks amazing with the gem shooting solar out, right? Like a solar gem. But then you got this right here, Pyroclasm. Just look at that. I wish I had it, but I'm not busting money for it. But oh my god. And then you got the other one with the like the lion dragon whatever on it. Like, oh man, bro, like it got some great ornaments on it. But the perk that Prometheus Lens do, it got flame refraction, which basically kills this weapon, return a fraction of the ammo used to the magazine from reserve, extending the beam duration. Same thing that Aegis Scepter had, so you really won't be reloading this weapon that much as long as you're getting kills. The exotic perk Prismatic Inferno fires a solar trace beam that creates a field of heat energy that grows after the weapon is fired. Sustained damage applies scorch to the target. So the scorch stack is 10. If some of you guys don't know, 100 stacks of scorch cause an ignition. This weapon does 10 scorch. Now, as you get to that sustained fire, as you hold the trigger on this weapon for like 4 seconds, I believe, and then as it gets going, every 0.1 second applies scorch, right? It does the 10 scorch per second, but if you have on the fragment ashes on, it adds a plus 10 to it, making it do 20. So you are able to ignite enemies with this if you aim and shoot at them for a long amount of time when you have ashes on. Without ashes, it's impossible, I believe, but with ashes on, it can trigger ignition on its own just shooting enemies. And any scorch applied with this weapon does 10% more damage than what scorch normally does. That's just the intrinsic thing with this gun, okay? So that's what we got here. You don't really need the catalyst for this gun. The catalyst on this gun just boosts the stability and handling on this weapon. Even though they show the incandescent perk on the catalyst, this gun does incandescent without the catalyst being done. So yeah, you don't need the catalyst to be done unless you need that stability and handling, which always helps the gun out, right? But the gun do incandescent, so incandescent spreads 60 scorch, I believe, to enemies around it. So just kill some enemies near each other, they get burnt on scorch. Do it a couple times and the enemies in the area will get ignition triggered. We're rocking Tenacious Mastery just cause I just love rocking double special when you're using something like trace rifles. Trace rifles and air denial grenade launchers, pretty easy to run another special weapon with it. You do not need to run Tina. You can run a primary weapon if you want to. And then our machine gun, y'all already know, our Lord and Savior, Watchful Eye, handling overload unstoppable champions for us and giving us Rolling Storm stacks for both charge whenever we want it on any build. Just amazing. And the exotic we're rocking for this build is none other than Celestial Nighthawk. I would have ran another exotic, but I'll get into that. So Celestial Nighthawk, precision final blows, reduce the cooldown on your super. So as we get precision kills with Trace Rifle, Prometheus Lens, we get bonus super energy than what we normally get. And then we already getting a lot of super energy from just shooting Trace Rifles in general. So I wanted to stack on more to the super bar fantasy with this build. And then of course you already know Celestial Nighthawk making that golden gun goes from 3 shots to 1 shot and increase the damage of golden gun by like 75% compared to the 3 shots that you would be using. I know it's like 600 some percent, but I'm talking about compared to the 3 shots, right? And then if you kill anybody with golden gun, then they blow up and you get 33% of your super energy bar back. So it's a loop. You use Celestial Nighthawk, kill some champions, and you keep the loop going non-stop, right? Our artifact. In artifact, we're rocking piercing sidearms for our tenacious, and then we're running overload machine gun. I'm not running overload trace rifle because I wanted my trace rifle to handle barrier champions and just enemies that got barriers and stuff. I wanted my Prometheus Lens to be able to handle anti-barriers with radiant on, so I did not turn on overload trace rifles. Now, is it possible to run overload on this? Yes. What you would just do is run overload trace rifle with this, and then make sure you turn on elemental supercharger, and you will be getting your golden gun back really quick, like super quick, because it does work with overload trace rifle. Sadly, Age Receptor didn't, but Prometheus Lens do. So you can go with overload trace rifle if you don't want your trace rifle doing anti-barrier with radiant on, and you can just go with elemental supercharger and then stack that with the boosted form of elemental siphon. So whenever you pick up a fire sprite, you get bonus super energy, and you'll be getting your golden gun back super quick, kill the champion, and then just rinse, wash, and repeat, getting your super back quick with all the super energy gains from the artifact and from Celestial Nighthawk perk itself. But in harder end content, I recommend Prometheus being able to just do anti-barrier. So you just shred through enemies without have to worry about shooting past their shields and stuff, right? The other artifact you want to have on is Beam Medic. So when you do kill enemies with Prometheus, you get a heal bump every time you kill 4 enemies within like 4 seconds, which is pretty decent. You get Elemental Siphon on, so it can be easier to get fire sprites to keep our loop going when it comes to restoration, but also getting our grenade back quicker. We will be rocking a healing grenade in this build, so good to make it that we can get fire sprites easier without having to meet a certain condition, right? We're running Harsh Refraction to get that 35% buff on our exotic trace rifles for damage, and then we're rocking Dreadful Finisher because we're rocking 2 special weapons in this build, so to make sure we keep our uptime on our special ammo. And then the last column, we're rocking Defibrillating Blast in harder end content because champions, you want to be able to kill them very quick, and Bolt Charge does a lot of damage with flashover on. So we're doing that, and plus we got a Rolling Storm machine gun, so we can get Bolt Charge whenever we want to. Just killing one enemy, then just go back to Prometheus Lens, and we can get Bolt Charge stacks up very quickly. But yeah, Defibrillating Blast is like essential for harder end content for dealing with champions. Highly recommend it. If you're doing an activity with no champions, definitely take Defibrillating Blast off, and you can just put on Elemental Supercharge. You can super back quicker with the Overload Trace Rifle, or you can put on Heavy Ordnance Regeneration, get a 25% damage reduction shooting your machine gun, and uptime on your grenades and your melee with 80% uptime for the 10 seconds. And yeah, and then lastly, rocking Limit Break, so we buff up our super damage by 30%. It does work with Celestial Nighthawk, makes Celestial Nighthawk a monster. You can literally one-shot a champion with Celestial Nighthawk without stunning them, as long as they're not an unstoppable champion. But yeah, all you have to do is just get Radiant and then just shoot the golden gun, and boom, they're dead. Okay. Fragments we're rocking. We're rocking Precision Golden Gun for Celestial Nighthawk, of course. We're running Acrobat Dodge, so we can proc Radiant without us having to have the fragment on that we got to use our melee to get Radiant. This one I felt like was way more convenient to keeping the uptime up on Radiant for us for the extra 20% damage. Triple jump. We rocking weighted throwing knife for a specific reason. Because Prometheus Lens does scorch as it shoot people, if we ever go against enemy that's too tanky, or we just want to blow up all the enemies in a room, we can just tag an enemy with Prometheus Lens to scorch them, and then throw our weighted knife at that enemy, and any enemy that's scorched that get hit by weighted knife calls the ignition, which you see right here that it says. Don't have to be a precision shot, just throw the weighted knife at an enemy that got scorched on them, and it calls the ignition on that enemy, and everybody die in that area. Rocking healing grenades so we can get restoration in our build, because we don't really have a way to get restoration without this. I did want to rock incendiary grenade to spread more scorch, so we went with healing grenade for restoration stay on 24/7 for us for survivability. But if you're ever in easier content, you can easily change to incendiary grenade just to burn the earth. You know what I'm saying? We're rocking on your mark for the extra fragment slots. Don't really care about the extra weapon handling and reload speed, but it's there for the helpfulness, right? We don't need knock them down. Knock them down don't buff golden gun damage, as far as I know of. Based on the description, it just increased the duration of it. And we don't need extra time. We can line up our shot pretty quick and do what we need to do. Do what we need to do, right? Now, we're rocking Gunpowder Gamble. I just want to say, be careful with Gunpowder Gamble. We got healing grenades on, so make sure you pay attention to that symbol of the grenade in the bottom left. Make sure it's the healing grenade symbol when you throw the grenade at your feet to heal yourself, which you will see the oopsies in this video in one of the parts in my Lost Sector run. But make sure you pay attention to that. But we're rocking Gunpowder Gamble so that we can throw a grenade out there and ignite any enemies in the room, since it does ignition. Even though the description says shoot in mid-air to cause the ignition, you do not need to shoot the Gunpowder Gamble in the air to cause the ignition. The explosion itself from Gunpowder Gamble causes ignition. So we're rocking that in this build for some more ad control and more deadliness, and because of the fragments we're rocking as well. So we're rocking Ember Ashes, so any type of scorch we're doing in this build get 50% more scorch. So if anything doing 40 scorch, it will be doing plus 20 now, so it'll be doing 60 instead of 40. So yeah, to get 50% more scorch everything, that goes for Prometheus Lens as well. So Prometheus Lens gonna be doing 20 instead of 10 scorch. We're rocking Empyrean, so when we do get solo weapon kills or solo ability kills, it'll give us extra duration on our restoration and radiant. So what we'll do is purposely prop acrobat dodge to get radiant, and then when we get kills with Prometheus Lens, radiant gonna keep getting re-amped up on this timer, so we keep radiant on 24/7 as long as we killing kills. And same thing for our healing grenade. Throw a healing grenade at our feet, get restoration, and then hurry up and kill enemies to get that timer up to 15, and we can keep restoration on 24/7 after we get kills. So that's the loop: acrobat dodge, healing grenade, get kills, and keep them buffs on us 24/7. We're rocking Ember of Mercy, so whenever we do pick up a fire sprite on the ground, not only will we get our melee energy back, our grenade energy back for our healing grenade with fire sprites, also fire sprite give us 2 extra seconds for restoration. So we already got restoration going. Let's say we got 10 seconds of restoration. If we pick up a fire sprite, it'll bump that number to 12 seconds. 15 seconds being the max on restoration. So this will help us with our uptime and restoration stay up even easier and longer, because restoration is really hard to keep the timer. When you throw the healing grenade, I think you only get like 4 seconds to hurry and kill someone to keep it going up with the Empyrean on. So getting a fire sprite to add that 2 seconds to try to hurry up and get to 15 seconds is very nice for survivability and keep the gameplay loop going. We're rocking Ember of Eruption, so our ignitions have bigger radius, 20% bigger radius to hit more enemies in the room. We do our ignitions to make our Gunpowder Gamble do more radius with the explosion, and whenever we do a lot of scorching Prometheus stuff, cause the ignitions, right? And with our knife, throwing and scorch enemies for ignitions, right? And then last but not least, something we have to have in this build, we got Emerald Char on, which basically solar ignitions spread scorch to affected targets. So we're throwing our Gunpowder Gamble on purpose, shoot it, and then the enemies that get hit by the Gunpowder Gamble, if they don't die, they will be scorched, and then Prometheus Lens got 35% extra damage towards them, basically melting them. 35% from Refraction Harsh, and then 20% from Radiant. Make Prometheus Lens do insane damage with the solar surges we got in our armor as well. Speaking of armor mods, let's get to it. We're rocking 2 special armor finders and a harmonic siphon, so we can make orbs while we're shooting Prometheus Lens. In easier content, you can definitely take off 1 special armor finder and put on Ashes as an asset, so when you're killing enemies with Gunpowder Gamble, you will get a lot of super energy for your golden gun to keep that super loop going. And our arm piece, we're rocking firepower, so when we do kill people with Gunpowder Gamble, we make an orb. And then we got bolster detonation. When we cause damage with our Gunpowder Gamble, it'll give us our shade step back quicker, so we can get more radiance going up. And our chest piece, resist mods, and then harmonic reserves, solar reserves, so we have more ammo for our Prometheus Lens. Lead piece, we're rocking 2 weapon surges for solar, 17% extra damage for our Prometheus Lens, and then we're rocking 1 recuperation for survivability. And then our class item, rocking Reaper, so whenever we do pop the Radiant Shade Step, whoever we kill first will make an orb for us for the solar weapon surge to add more to the DPS. And then we're rocking Final Restoration just because our recovery stat is 40. Might as well get that plus 30 so it'd be a 70. Even though we will have Restoration on non-stop, this was just a safety precaution and high-end content if you don't have Restoration on at that moment, but you do have charges on you, stack charges on you. In easier content, you can definitely take off Font and Restoration and put on 2 other different mods that you want to put on. All up to you. Maybe a time dilation so that your solar surge stays longer. Completely up to you. Anyway, that's the build. I actually enjoyed this build a lot, to the point that I'm kind of mad that, you know, we got no solar artifacts. This actually did insane work. I actually enjoyed this so much. And the low sectors on Neomuna. Everybody know the hardest low sectors in this game is Neomuna and Pale Heart. So it did a phenomenal job inside a Neomuna low sector. And that's another reason why I want to give Age of Scepter some slack as well. I was in Neomuna low sector. Any other low sector, for me, Age of Scepter probably would have went even crazier, right? It was in one of the harder low sectors in this game. But love you guys, appreciate you guys as always. Let me know how y'all feel about the build down below. Hope you guys loved the video, the build itself. Thanks for everyone in the comment section with all the positivity and love as always. And until next time, stay up.